Oh, man. So based on what we're discussing this morning, great to have you here, by the way. Welcome. Great to have you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Based on what we're discussing this morning, I was listening to more to it and just something made me laugh. Really, really laugh. Now, Yeni Kuti, of course, one of the ladies on your view, one of us here, gave an interview, you understand, and she said something. She said, my dad was an icon, but he wasn't a good father, as it were, to us. So I wanted to, because at times headlines can be sensational. So I just wanted to listen exactly to what she said. And it's quite interesting, yeah. There was something she said. She said he told us not to call him daddy or father. We call him by his first name.
Wow.
So they call him Fela.
Wow.
And she said one of her brothers, when she went to the kids and the kids were calling him Kule, 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 she told her, she warned the boy. The boy said, if you don't want to be an irresponsible human being, those children just stop calling you Kule. She said, but they call their father Fela. He told them not to. And that in itself, she said, so breaking it down, and I get where she's coming from. She said, look, we didn't feel special that way, his kids. He should have been like the father to all. You understand? Yeah. And there's something about iconic figures like that. At times, family or the home front tends to suffer when you give of yourself to the world that much. And so, you guys are giving of yourselves to the world. What would you rather leave? And I know the name, the Kuti name is there, and the children have benefited of it so much. But what legacy would you leave for your children? First of all, Elsie just starts off,
Elena does it actually.
Elena does it. She says,
the nerve on the girl. She'll just come and say, Mr. Michael Koche.
No, or something. That's respectful. First name, you said that, you check them out, Kule.
No, sometimes she's just in that space. She just comes and say, Koche.
Wow.
And then she goes to her dad, Michael Koche.
Wow.
So
when you call it with the first name, this is a little bit
respectful. With the first
but the only first name, imagine now. Imagine your daughter just comes.
I feel that is even more. No, you call the name and when they want to warn you, that's when they call you your name and your surname.
But it's not part about that really got me. Like, imagine your kid calling you by your first name.
But you have to consider the environment, people grow up. I know that, from different stories and articles we've read, even stories, we also visited in Ogun State, we visited the museum of the family. So you could see that their home and the shrine was the kind of place where hundreds of people would flock through time and time again. So I kind of feel it when she says, she probably didn't feel like he was just there just father to them. He was father to everyone, like you said earlier. And different mindsets can develop from that. So I feel like it's what you as a child take from your father that is important. What did you filter through eventually? But there are some cases where you have a father who is hands-on, who is, giving all the hugs and all the kisses, but then when it's time to buy milk, it's frowning. So what exactly would you prefer to give to your child? I don't know. I think it just depends on the child.
What would I leave to my child? Values, love, money.
Really?
Yes, no debts.
No
debts. Yes.
Okay.
There are a lot of children, there are a lot of children that I know of. I've heard cases of children whose parents died and they were left with their debts. Yes, with their parents' debts, and they had to pay.
They had to pay.
Yes.
You can't meet my father.
Yes, you have to pay for it. And then there's also a particular religion where if a family member dies, somebody has to pay that debt. Compulsorily, you have to pay it. Right. So, I don't want to leave all those loans. People will pack loans from different loan apps. And then something happens.
I choose to unidentify. If I'm there, I will identify as a cat.
Wow.
Yes.
Yes. No. That's not.
But that is a different situation, right? You're talking about people even leaving debts. There are people that literally end up realizing that the father literally even sold the family out.
Maybe the property.
The property and okay, fine. In those days where things like that counted and mattered, right? The people themselves, you realize that you are not your own. belong to. So yes, you have to
Come and say your surname has been changed.
Yes, you have to go and work somewhere to literally pay your sons. So it happens. So anyways, what came to my mind when you're talking about this was an interview. I watched a documentary on Nelson Mandela, and of course he had his daughter talk about their father, his legacy, and what the implication he had on the family. And to be honest, same thing you say. I mean, as an icon, you are busy leaving a legacy out there, but then again, the home front suffered. And then luckily, he also spoke about it a little bit because he was also interviewed. And he spoke about how he wished he did certain things differently.
I remember this.
Yeah.
I remember this.
Yeah.
And then looking at, I also remember 2 other very notable interviews, Jackie Chan and who now? What's his name now? Shaquille O'Neal.
No, yeah.
Shaquille says to his kids, I am rich.
You are not. Steve Harvey
Says
said
he's
something
going
similar.
to, he said, except say come back with 2 degrees.
Yeah.
And that's when I'll give you a part of, not like you'll be able to work for me and I'll give you something. But he said, go and get 2 degrees.
Yeah.
So I would rather, so the issue now, he's talking about what he would leave for his kids. He said he would rather leave his kids prepared to take on the world. Because, I mean, look at people like the Hiltons. Most of the time, you hear things like the children of the poor are the future of society, because whenever these rich kids are bequeathed wealth,
They misuse it.
they don't know. They
So now,
all of them, not all of
now, does that
them.
not alone
Not all
tell
of
you
them.
the value, what should be valued
Exactly.
more? For instance, I'll give you an example. I don't know how this happened, but like I was literally reading about King David, for instance. David had riches. He had everything. Look at what happened to his sons. All of his sons literally died.
So that's why...
Yearly. So
Yeah.
I just feel like no matter how much money you're making, I think a lot of people actually get it wrong. No matter how much money or name and fame you're making here, it's very important for you to know that there are certain values that as a father
Exactly.
you have to pass on to your kids.
Because those values are
what
what you're
save
going to sustain them. It's what's going to keep them. It's what's going to even help them manage those businesses.
that money that you left
Exactly, those monies you left behind. It is those values, and discipline is one of them. Discipline is one value. It's a principle that a lot of people lack.
I know parents, I know a lot of people that cannot say no to their kids. When you cannot say
that
no,
one is not-
when you cannot say no to your kids, let me tell you something, life will tell them no in a very strong way.
Yeah.
You understand? You need to be careful. You need to be very careful. So when you mention discipline, you know, that part is about maybe the most important thing. If you can teach them to be disciplined, teach them about life, and then they can go out there and build up from what you have.
There are some things you can put in place to make sure that your kids are more responsible at a certain age. But the truth is, we've talked about this thing before. If child goes spoil, it goes spoil. No matter how much you put into it, it still depends on that child as an individual and what they do with it. So even if you have like a trust fund or lawyers that say, okay, until you're 21, until you're married with 2 kids, until you have 3 degrees before you get this money, if you go squander the money,
Okay, so now, so you know there are also parents that actually say they want to work so that their kids don't go through what they
went through.
Well, my point is in everything. Yeah, some of them say, okay, fine, they go ahead and like putting estates in place, making sure, as you said, putting lawyers at this certain age and all that. But the truth is that even with all of that, there's still some core values that it depends on the child, right? But the foundation determines what the child is going to be in the end of the day. So no matter.
And the parents are the foundation of any child, of any individual. How you grow up, that's why I said values, love. The minute when you love yourself, you're able to also love other people, love what you do, love your parents, continue with, you know, even love to continue with the legacy, because we've also had cases where parents leave legacies to their kids and then the kids are
Gotta
like,
go, man. Thank you so much.
I don't-
Wonderful
yeah,
conversation.
so-
Thank you, ladies.
Yeah.
But yeah, hope you're able to pick up something from there. And for me, the great fella, well, the children turned out well. All of you are enjoying it. That's all that we can take. Yeah?
let's take a quick break. We'll be back with more right here on Wake Up Nigeria.